Back with more Kislev, this time Tsar Boris himself on his war bear. If we look at his loadout here, he's got anti-large AP with his nice kind of glaive deal, shard blade, stand your ground, potion of strength, potion of foolhardiness, mighty roar, and also this armor of Urson, which gives him magic and physical resistance, basically damage resistance, right? 12 melee defense, and he also causes terror on that bear. We've also got some Griffin Legion here. Basically upgraded winged hussars. They've got more charge, a little bit similar stats otherwise, a little bit of anti-large as well. Some more ungles. We've got this hag witch for a caster here. Pretty interesting looking being. I'm gonna throw a fireball over there. These Kvasniks, which are bomb throwers. No idea if these guys are loreful at all. I'm not really big on the lore, so I can't really tell you, but got some Streltsy as well. These are kind of hybrid halberd gun units. Very strong. Spearmen. Some Ungol horse archers, of course, up against Norsca, because, of course, Norsca. I've just got a basically giant spam of Marauder infantry. This is actually an all-Marauder build. We've got all horsemen, javelin hunters, Marauder spearmen, great weapons, regular Marauders, just foot casters, Wolfric on foot as well. So, nice little hit and run from the Griffin Legion there. Defensive missile position is going to be pretty real, and these bomb throwers in particular will be quite strong, as the vampire bombers used to be. Are they throwing Molotov cocktails? That's hilarious. A little bit of a boat action comes through. Unfortunately, it doesn't do quite as much damage to them as I would have liked, but to take a kind of overarching look here, you can see this missile defense position is pretty intense. Nice charge from the Griffin Legion in the front line. They are getting some friendly fire here, but just keeping my forces disrupted and back. You can see I'm having a hard time actually making contact all across the line. And yeah, it's just a bad day overall for Norsca so far. The Ungol warriors are finally going to get into combat with them. Brutes of the Hound here in the center, just getting exploded as they fight. We have managed to do quite a bit of damage to the Griffin Legions, though. Kind of cycle charging in and out. Way's been doing a great job not keeping them in combat too long, but even still, I've got a pretty intense missile presence myself. But yeah, we're both just going to kind of throw missiles into this center fight, and that is not cost effective for me. Brutes of the Hound are much more expensive rather than these cheap Ungols. Likewise, Tsar Boris comes in here, and anti-large won't apply. But I also overcast a Flame Storm here, hoping that it would just kind of go down and eat up a lot of Way's units. Unfortunately, it does not, in fact. It kind of rolls over what's left of the Brutes of the Hound, actually finishes them off. And, yeah, does nothing useful, basically. Might even go and kill some of my own forces there. But, unfortunately... Okay, sorry, just making sure my recording's still going there. I don't know, it might have blacked out for a second there. I apologize if that's the case. Yeah, Wolfric... also getting shanked by the Hag Witch here. Just gets absolutely destroyed by Boris. Wolfric, even with his buffs active, I mean, Potion of Foolhardiness up to 109 charge, 600 weapon strength with the Potion of Strength. Tsar Boris just beasts him out. Just absolute beast. So yeah, at that point, that's going to put a pretty decisive dent in the balance of power for me. Oh yeah, Kislev dudes just shouting over here, holding the line just fine. Streltsy also firing away with their guns. I really do hope that Kislev gets gun units, because that would just be awesome. And I have to say, for the modder here, I don't know exactly what animation set this is, how he got the dudes to do this, but this is probably one of the coolest things I've ever seen in Total War Warhammer 3. Like, these guys' animation sets, it must be a custom animation set, but the way they kind of hold their bardiche and shoot with the musket, very, very awesome. I'm sure there's some historical tie-ins there. But, yeah, again, it remains to be seen how much of this will actually be implemented. The only thing we know for sure is Bear Cavalry, Ungols, both infantry and cavalry, and the Tsarina, right? And some kind of more elite infantry, as well as the Winged Hussars. So we have, what? That's like 6 confirmed units, basically. Which is absolutely not a full roster. I am very curious to see what else Kislev has to offer. Will they have artillery? Will they have, you know... if they do have access to gunpowder, I'm assuming they'll have some kind of artillery. Will they pay a premium for it, though, over other factions? Because, I mean, in the lore, Kislev is not the richest country in the world, and gunpowder weapons are relatively expensive, so how prevalent will they be on their roster, or will they have any at all? I really hope they do. I mean, I guess we did also see the Ice Guards, so let's see. If you add up Ice Guards, infantry, the Ungol infantry, elite infantry, Ungol cavalry, winged hussars, boar riders, that's what, yeah, 6 units. Which is definitely not a full roster, so it remains to be seen what else Kislev will bring to the table. But well played away there, able to defend his missile line quite well. Great job by the Griffin Legion. Actually didn't pay for themselves, they're 1150, but still managed to keep me at bay long enough for the Streltsy to just do an insane amount of work. 1,000 damage both for them. The Kvasniks did some pretty decent damage as well, 650, 760. Good stuff there. The Ungol Warriors also in this mod are quite nice. They have anti-infantry and decent stats all around. Their armor is abysmal, but hey, they're pretty decent. Spearmen didn't really get involved in the fight much, but look at Boris, man. Just eats Wolfric for breakfast. Very, very strong character. The Ungol Horse Archers also quite good here. Doing okay, not quite paying for themselves, but I ended up having to allocate some resources to fighting them. On my side, I mean, nothing really did a great job paying for itself, to be honest. All of my infantry just got shredded there. The Javelins also actually did a decent job on foot. They did okay, as did the Horsemen, but it was definitely a rough outing for me against Kislev. And who will the second legendary lord for Kislev be? It's hard to say. Tsar Boris is certainly one, although if you look back at the trailer, if you actually zoom in on the letter that the Tsarina, I'm going to call him the advisor. I don't know if he's the advisor for sure, but that dude in the end card, right, the post-credit scene, actually a lot of people, I don't even know if they saw that, they might have skipped it, but that dude in the post-credit scene, when he moves the map, he moves some papers around to kind of reveal Cathay, you pause it there and read that letter, she does mention a character named Yuri, and I was seeing some posts from some people, some other content creators who know a little bit more about the lore than me, saying that that may be also a potential legendary character. You guys will have to let me know in the comments below if that is truly the case, but that would be pretty awesome. I mean, like some kind of Ungol legendary lord, or of course Tsar Boris, who is Tsarina's husband. I don't know exactly the lore behind this guy, but I don't think he's actually around in the lore. Like, I want to say that he's gone somehow. I don't know. I will be very interested to see. And Kislev, in terms of campaign mechanics too, just having some discussions with some people, like Felcon was making the point that Kislev's role is largely just to die, right? Like in the lore, with the Chaos invasions, they take the brunt of the blow, and then the Empire comes in to like save the day in the Chaos invasion, right? But Kislev is meant to die, largely. So thinking about that and thinking about what Creative Assembly has done in the past, you look at the campaigns in some of the older Total War titles, like Attila, for example, is a very good example, or Barbarian Invasion from Rome 1, even further back. Those are campaigns where if you play as the Western Roman Empire, your goal is just to survive, mostly, especially for the first half of the campaign. You will very likely lose some battles, you're going to have to sacrifice settlements, you know, and basically the goal is just to lose as well as you can. Lose as little as possible while losing, so that you have enough to kind of strike back, right? And I'm really hoping that Kislev's campaign has very much that feel, sort of like an apocalyptic survival scenario. It would potentially be a very hard campaign to do well, but I think Creative Assembly has done an okay job in the past of kind of simulating that. We'll see what kind of unique mechanics, but how I envision Kislev playing is like you slowly lose territory, you know, try and wear down the forces of chaos through attrition, maybe do some specific quests, and then perhaps like as kind of an end mechanic, you maybe have some friendly stacks of like Empire, Bretonnia, Dwarfs, maybe some of the other good Order factions that would be allied to Kislev kind of showing up in the late game to help you fight back and kind of counter push and reclaim your lands. This is all purely speculation, but that's how I would like the Kislev campaign to be and feel. One other point I wanted to make real quick, just as I ramble about Kislev. Some other people, I think it was Turin may have mentioned in one of his videos, that he hopes Kislev doesn't have access to Lore of Magic, otherwise the meta might just be, you know, healing Bear Cav. like some people would say the meta for Empire is healing demigryphs. I would disagree with that on a couple of on multiple grounds. First things first is, you look at somebody like Dryka. Dryka's a legendary caster on a faction that has Lore of Life, and yet Dryka's still a very strong choice to bring, even alongside a life caster, but even without a life caster, Dryka's still a very viable choice and strong in a number of matchups. So if you balance the casters correctly, then, you know, even with healing, those legendary casters that have other Lores of Magic are still very much viable and, you know, even not even viable, but competitive options in many cases. So I'm not that worried about Kislev getting Lore of Life. I think they definitely should have Lore of Life as a kind of Order human faction. It's not like it's a complicated Lore of Magic to figure out, I would imagine, given that it's kind of tied to nature and everything. But we'll see. In terms of Lores of Magic, I do obviously expect them to get a new, unique Ice Lore of Magic, and other than that, likely they'll probably have similar lores to Bretonnia. I don't think they'll have as many lores as the Empire, like probably not Lore of Light, if I had to guess. Probably Beast, Life, maybe Heavens. I doubt Fire, just because that doesn't seem like they're kind of ice-themed, right? So, I don't know, maybe, though. Norsca has Lore of Fire, and they're also ice-themed, so we'll see. We'll see what Lores of Magic they end up having, but I, for one, am not worried at all, and think they even should have access to Lore of Life. Absolutely. Hopefully you guys enjoyed watching this. If you do like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button. Every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.